Hello and welcome to the video. So this video is coming out a little bit late, probably a little bit, actually I have no idea when this video is gonna be coming out because it is the 28th and I did not film since last week. With just like the holiday and there was just like a lot going on or whatever. I think I managed to write a little bit here and there, but I didn't film anything. But now that we are coming upon the end of the month, I only have 3 days to finish this story. And here's the thing, I'm not a procrastinator by any means. However, I do well under pressure, so I have full confidence that I will finish this story by the end of the month. And the reason why I have full confidence is because I'm about to write the climactic scene, and we only have a couple more like big scenes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6-ish scenes that I want to write. While they might be a little bit chunkier, I expect that I'm gonna kind of fly through them writing wise. I typically do well when I'm writing climactic scenes. I don't tend to get stuck on things, I really like get into it, and this time should be no different. Fingers crossed. I also expect to have my title figured out by the end of this video. A lot of times I'll have like a working title while I'm writing something, and then once I get to the end, I usually like finalize the title. Since this story was loosely based on a poem that I had written, I've just in my mind been using the title of the poem. It's actually called What We Do in Cemeteries. I have a video on here, I will link it in the cards above, of me like talking through the poem and that kind of stuff, because I took inspiration from like a local graveyard. However, I don't think that title will work for this story. At first I thought it was going to, but as I'm writing this, I don't know if it's gonna be as great of a fit, so hopefully by the end of this I'll be able to have like a proper title. So I'm gonna get down to writing. Like I said, I only have a couple days to finish this, so hopefully I can knock out like a scene or two. I don't know, I might just get like swept up in the moment and end up writing the end of it. I really have no idea. With that, I'm gonna get into it. The countdown continues. It is the 29th, 29th, 30th. Oh god. Okay, 2 days. We can do this. It's fine. We're fine. Got the climax down. Very satisfying. It was a lot more intense than I thought it was going to be, which is a good thing. And I was able to kind of like make it like a moment, All right, our main character is feeling pretty down. She has literally lost everything and is lashing out at everyone, and I love it because she is just in the pit of despair. So the next scene, as part of like, like the character's low point or what have you, I don't know if I want to add it in because it's kind of contradictory to what I had set up before. So here's the thing. There's a relationship in the story between the main character and one of the like antagonistic characters, the French guy I might have mentioned before. In the beginning, I hadn't envisioned them to have a like strong relationship, or at least I didn't imagine he was going to be a very prevalent character. Is that the right word? Prevalent? I don't know. Originally, he was supposed to be sort of like a secondary, kind of like being helpful to the main antagonist. However, as I was writing, their relationship kind of evolved into something, not like a romantic relationship or anything like that, but I don't know if I want him to be as antagonistic as I originally thought. I feel like I could play around and make him more dimensional as a character. Because really in my head I had one specific vision for him and how he was going to be and act. But as I'm writing and I'm giving him more of like a story, exploring different reasons why he is the way he is, I'm realizing that he has more in common with my main character than I originally thought. And so their relationship is just becoming more complex, and I like that a lot better. So the sort of last tail end of the story has taken a kind of different, excuse me, I'm talking. It's kind of taken a different turn in terms of who I guess like the real antagonist is. This next scene involved him, and I don't know if I want to go in that direction. This is why we do this, because things don't always happen the way you thought they would. I have my end scene, okay? I know for sure I want to end the story with this, but getting there. Okay. I guess the real question is, from the climax, do I want to take a beat for Florence to have some time to herself? Or do I push ahead with having her interact with one of the other characters? See, this is the process. This is me thinking. I guess it's a matter of the kind of tone I want to navigate this ending through. Do I want it to be more somber and more delicate, more depressing, I guess is like the only way? Or I guess it really depends on Florence, like her character. Like, what would she reasonably do next? Beginning of the story, Florence would completely isolate herself, but through the events of the story would arced Florence do that. So I guess it's how she gets through this and how she overcomes. I'm gonna work on this a little bit in my head and maybe write down some possible scenarios how I want this to end, because a lot is riding on this ending, you know? This is gonna be the determining factor of the story, and I want it to be as satisfying as possible. I'm done! Ah! Ladies and gentlemen. Oh god, I'm dying. Ah! Okay, this is exciting. Holy moly. Wow! I think that was a really good ending. It brought everything back full circle. It's very satisfying, I think. Oh, man. Okay. Wow. Here we go. So, it's still the 29th. I knew I was gonna finish before the end of the year. Ah! A title. A title, a title, a title. We're on the floor now because I need to think of a title. Okay, here's what I'm gonna do. This has helped me before in the past, so typically titles kind of come to me, but in this case, I think it requires a little bit more thinking. Like, do I want to go with the more abstract type title or something more direct? For example, I feel like Thick as Blood is more of like an abstract, loose title, even though that phrase is said in the book, versus like The Scum at the End of the Road. Like, that's something you can kind of like picture, and as you read you kind of discover like what, you know, that is kind of in reference to. I've heard a bunch of different people kind of try to explain what they think the title means, which I really like because it's definitely open for interpretation. Versus like Notes from a Wicked Child, like you learn very quickly who the wicked child is and the notes from them, because the poems kind of come in the form of a story or a narrative, and there's little asides that Ophelia kind of talks to the actual reader about. But like for this story, I'm not entirely sure. So what I'm gonna do is make a little document, and I'm just gonna go through and gather some names or nicknames or themes or symbols or that kind of stuff and play around with it that way. I think that'll help, because sometimes just getting like your own little word dump in there kind of helps you sort through things, and hopefully something will just kind of spring out at me. So I'm gonna do that really quick and see what I can find, and we'll go from there. This is like, I've never kind of shown this process before of trying to like finalize a title, so all right, let's go. Let's just see what happened. So awesome camera work again, but as you can see here, this is sort of a brain dump that I cultivated, including a bunch of different stuff. So obviously like the original like What We Do in Cemeteries title that I wasn't completely happy with, just because it didn't really fit the story anymore for the direction that I took. So then I just added a bunch of different adjectives and themes and repeated words that were in the story, and I just kind of threw in some working titles here and there as things popped up. I realized like halfway through that I was still using the word Highgate. If you're unfamiliar, the graveyard, the cemetery that I'm basing the story off of is the real Highgate Cemetery in London, and I don't like to use specifically real places that much for my stories, so I knew I wanted to make up sort of my own cemetery name, and after a little bit of thinking I came up with Rosecrest. And what I always like to do is when I come up with like a new name for something, I always Google it, and oddly enough, a retirement home popped up in my Google search, Rosecrest, like extended living, and then there's, I think, a town in America called Rosecrest, but yeah, that was about it. So I decided, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and do it. So Rosecrest is the name of the cemetery, Rosecrest Cemetery. And from there, I decided that for the title, we're gonna go with The Cherub of Rosecrest. And I really think, oh, hello. How are you? Oh my god. There we go, it's a little better. But I really think that this title is going, like, captures the essence of the story. I'm actually really excited. As soon as I was looking through and saw a couple of symbols that were reoccurring, cherub was one of them, and it has a bunch of different meanings in the story. I actually really like it. Okay, yeah, like it's growing on me. Like the more I look at it and the more I think about the story, the more I'm like, that's it. I honestly wasn't expecting to finish the story today, which means I have a couple days until the start of January, so I'm gonna take a little break from writing, take a break from the story. I think I'm gonna come back in January and start doing some like editing vlogs with you guys, some more like just day in the life type things. A lot of like what I was doing while I was editing Tight as Skin. Since this project is so short, I mean right now the word count of this story is only like 14,200. Editing and outlining and all of that stuff isn't gonna be too daunting of a task. If it's anything like the Scum at the End of the Road was, it pretty much writes itself. While there is a little bit more research involved in this story, I feel like I've pretty much done the bulk of it, and a lot of it from here on out will just be like little nitty-gritty stuff. So hopefully I can use the remainder of my winter break to edit this guy out, get it ready for publication by the end of January or February. Hold on, I'm gonna put you up real quick. My arm hurts. And like really the major goal of this story was to be able to feel like I accomplished something this year that was creative. I really did want to finish editing Tight as Skin, but it just wasn't in the cards, I feel like. For those of you who don't know, Thick as Blood, which is the first book in the series, is really near and dear to me. I spent years working on that story, rewriting it and making it better. And I mean, even though I've written 2 other stories or like published 2 other books since then, it's still something that I'm immensely proud of, and I know my writing has gotten a lot better from that. So I feel like Tight as Skin deserves the amount of dedication and hard work as Thick as Blood. I just really want to do that series justice. So I really do want to thank you for understanding when I put Tight as Skin on hold to work on this project. I always put 110% into my books, and really the simple fact of the matter is that Tight as Skin and Thick as Blood are just, they're full-blown novels. You know, they have very complex characters, they have very complex plots and storylines, and the writing of that sort of fantastical world is not as easy as writing novellas or poetry books. So really just thank you for bearing with me through all of that. And I do plan on continuing to edit Tight as Skin in 2021. When that book will be published, I honestly don't know. Alrighty, with all that being said, that concludes DecoWriMo. I mean, I won, so thank you for watching. I hope you had a great holiday season and bring on the end of 2020. Hope you are all safe and well, and I wish you luck with your writing endeavors, and I will see you guys later.